Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Just you need to remember previous topics, previous class topics. You need to remember waveguide junction are used to enable power in a waveguide to be split or combined for some extract, which means that the waveguide junctions. So today we are going to discussing waveguide junction types. But before discussing waveguide junction types, first you need to know why you need to use waveguide junction. Waveguide junction are used to enable power in a waveguide to be split or combined for some extract. There are number of different types of waveguide junctions that can be used. So each waveguide type having different properties. Each waveguide type having different properties. So the different types of waveguide junction affect the energy contained within the waveguide in different ways. In different ways. The common type of waveguide junction includes the E type, H type, magic T, and hybrid ring junction. The different forms of waveguide junction having different properties, different properties, this means that and this means that they are applicable for different applications. The different forms of waveguide junction having different properties, and this means that they are applicable for different applications. Having an understanding of their different properties enables the correct type to be chosen. This means that if you want to enable the different properties of these different waveguide junctions, you need to choose the correct type. If you want to enable E type means you need to choose correct enable type. If you want to enable the H type means you need to prefer correct type. You need to choose correct type. So coming to waveguide waveguide junction types. The main types of waveguide junctions are four: E type T junction, H type T junction, magic T junction, hybrid ring waveguide junction. You have to remember E type T junction, which is already over, H type T junction, magic T junction, and hybrid ring waveguide junction. Coming to the first one, E type junction, E type T junction. The E type T junction, just you need to know the brief information regarding this E type T junction. So the E type waveguide junction gains its name because the top of the T extends from the main waveguide in the same plane. The main waveguide in the same plane as the electric field in the waveguide. As the electric field in the waveguide. Next, H-type T junction. So the H-type waveguide junction gains its name because the top of the T in the T junction, which is parallel to the plane, of the magnetic field, which means that H line in the waveguide. If we are going to discussing regarding about magnetic field means, which is the H line in the waveguide. Next one is the magic T. Magic T means the combination of both E and H wave. The magic T waveguide junction is effectively a combination of the E-type and H-type wave junction. The magic T waveguide junction is effectively a combination of the E-type and H-type waveguide junction. So these are the brief information from the E-type T junction, H-type T junction, and magic T junction. Today we are going to discussing about H-type waveguide junction. In detail, we are going to discuss the H-type. The H-type of waveguide junction is called an H-type T junction. H-type T junction. Because so why you're calling this waveguide junction is an H-type T junction means the long axis of the main top of the T arm is parallel to the, you need to see the diagram, because the long axis of the main top of the arm is parallel to the, which is parallel to the plane of the lines magnetic lines of force in the waveguide direction, which means that it is characterized by the fact that that the two outputs from the top of the T junction or T section in the waveguide are in phase with each other, or in phase with each other. You need to remember, it is characterized by the fact that the two outputs from these two, the two outputs from we are getting from this, the two outputs from the top of the T section. This is the top of the T section, okay, of the T section in the waveguide are in phase. These two are in phase with each other. These two are in phase to each other. Just you need to remember. Okay, this T type of waveguide junction is called an H-type T junction because the long axis of this main top of this T arm, this T arm is parallel to the plane of the magnetic field or magnetic lines of force in the waveguide. It is characterized by the fact that the two outputs from the top of the T section in the waveguide are in phase with each other. To see how the waveguide, how the waveguide junction operates, which will be shown in the below figure. You need to see. Okay, you need to see from this H-type electric field. From this, you need to know it to see how the waveguide junctions will be forming, or how the waveguide junction operates. This cross mark indicates that the electric field lines coming out of the screen. The electric field line coming out of screen. Just you need to see. So like in the previous diagram we already mentioned, you need to see. In the previous diagram we already seen that, right? So only the electric lines are shown in this figure. This H-type junction electric field. We are showing, are able to see only electric field lines. Why mean the electric field lines are shown using the traditional nation, across indicates a line coming out of the screen. So whereas the dots indicates, whereas the dots indicates, so here we are marking the cross marks, so which is indicates electric field line coming out of screen. But if you want to represent uh, dots, if you want, you need to use dots also, no problem. A dot indicates an electric field line going into the screen. See, here we are taking two uh, symbols. The first one is the cross marks. This indicates that electric field line coming out of the screen. So the one more symbol is used for dots. The one more symbol is dot, which is used for an electric field line going into the screen, which is coming out of the screen. The cross mark indicates that electric field line coming out of the screen, and dot indicates an electric field line going into the screen. Going into the screen. You need to remember that only. Okay, going into the screen. And it can be seen from, this can be seen from the diagram that the signals at all ports are in phase. Here we have a, this is the diagram. So in this all phases, all the signals at the all ports are in phase to each other, or else you need to call the signals at all ports are in the phase, although it is easiest to consider the signals, entering from the lower section of the T, any port can actually be used, the phase relationship are preserved whatever entry port is used. See, let us assume, if you are assuming that this is the entry port, means the remaining these two ports will be considered as a output ports or exit ports. This is the entry, means you need to assume that these two are exit ports or output ports. This is the input port, means if you are assuming that. This means that although it is the earliest to consider the signals entering from the lower section of the T, any port can actually be used the phase relationship preserve whatever entry port is used. So this is the basic information from the H-type junction, H-type waveguide junction. Next one is the Magic T bridge waveguide junction. Magic T bridge waveguide junction, or else you need to call Magic T hybrid waveguide junction. Magic T hybrid waveguide junction. So for this, the Magic T is the combination of the H-type and E-type junctions. So in this Magic T hybrid waveguide junction, the name itself indicates that this is a hybrid waveguide junction. This means that inside the Magic T we have both H-type and E-type T junctions. So this means that the combination of H-type and E-type T junctions are called as Magic T hybrid waveguide junction. Magic T hybrid waveguide junction. The most common application of this type of junction, is as the mixer section of microwave radar receivers. As the mixer section for microwave radar receivers. You need to see the diagram. So this is the Magic T waveguide junction. Okay, so in these we have basically we need to take a two type waveguide junctions. You need to combine those two E and H type waveguide junctions. See, we have here H plane arm and E plane arm. These two are arm A and arm B. Let us assume this is the E plane arm. This is the H plane arm. Okay, so in this diagram, a simplest version of the magic T waveguide junction with its 4 ports. We have here 4 ports. You need to remember. In this we have, in the previous we have only 3 from this 1, 2, 3. But here we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here we have 4 ports. You need to remember. This is the simplest version of the magic T waveguide junction with its 4 ports. With its 4 ports. Just you need to remember. Look at the operation of this magic T waveguide. You need to look at the operation of the magic T waveguide junction. Take the example. You need to take one example for explanation purpose of this magic T waveguide junction. When a signal is applied into the E plane arm, in this, when a signal is applied into the E plane, when a signal is applied into in this E plane arm, it will divided into 2. This will be divided into 2 out of phase components. It passes into the leg consisting of A and B arm. It is passes into the leg consisting of the A and B arms. A and B arms. You need to remember. When a signal is applied into the E plane arm, when a signal is applied into the E plane arm, it will be divided into 2 out of phase components as it passes into the 2 leg consisting of A and B arms. However, no signal will enter the E plane arm as a result of the fact that a zero potential exists. There, this occurs because of the condition needed to create the signals in A and B arm. You need to remember, no signal will enter the enable arm of this E plane arm as a result of the fact that a zero potential exists there. This occurs because of the condition needed to create the signal in the A and B arm. In this way, when a signal is applied to the H plane, same scenario. In this way, when a signal is applied to the H plane arm, no signal appears at the E plane arm. No signal will appear E plane arm, and the 2 signals are appearing at A and B arm. And these 2 signals are having 180 degrees out of the phase with each other. First, you need to remember the first main important point from the magic T waveguide junction. When a signal is applied into the E plane arm, it will be divided into 2 phase components. It passes into the 2 legs which are already existing. We have already the legs consisting of A and B arms. However, no signal will enter into this H plane arm until getting the signal from these 2 arms. The same scenario here also you need to apply. When a signal is applied to the H plane arm, no signal appears in the E plane arm, and the two signals are appearing at the A and B arms are 180 degrees out of phase with each other. You need to remember these 2 points from the magic T waveguide junction. Okay, see the diagram for that. We already discussed these 2 points. You need to remember. I'll show the diagram also for this. Just you need to see. This is the diagram. See, first when a signal is enter into like in this direction, which means that if the signal is enter into H plane arm, this is H plane. We saw from this diagram. You need to see this only, right? This is the H plane only. This is the E plane. You need to remember that. Okay, now when a signal is applied to the H plane arm, no signal appears at the E plane arm. Note down, this is the very important point from the magic T waveguide junction. When a signal is applied to the H plane arm, no signal appears at the E plane arm, and the two signals what we are getting from these two ports. What we are getting from these two ports? What is the output we are getting from these two ports? That is coming from the A and B arms are 180 degrees out of the phase with each other. 180 degrees phase out of 180 degrees out of phase with each other. You need to remember. Okay, now no signal will be coming from or entering into this E plane arm. Let us assume if the signal is enter into the arm A. If the signal is enter into the arm A, assume that. I am saying that, assume that if the signal is enter into the arm A, what will happen? No signal will be coming from this port. What is this port? Arm B. Until getting output from the E plane arm and H plane arm. No signal will be enter into the arm B. Let us assume, you need to see from this diagram only. If the signal is enter into in this arm B port, if you are applying the signal through this arm B port, means what will happen? No signal will be enter into the arm A port until getting the output from E plane arm and H plane arm. This means that if the signal is enter into the one port, the opposite port is not allowing to enter any signal into the concerned port. So if you are entering into the input signal in this, means this is not accepting or which is not allowing the input signal, through this sum. Okay, now so like that you need to define the two conditions. These two conditions are very important from magic T waveguide junction. You need to remember that. Okay. When a signal enters into, we already discussed all these cases. Just you need to remember. When a signal is enter into A or B arm, assume that we already discussed that. When a signal is enters the either A or B arm, B arm of the magic T waveguide junction, then a signal appears at the E and H plane ports. Then the signals appears, or then the output is getting from either these both planes, E plane arm and H plane, but not at the other B or A arm are shown, which means that the output is coming from either E plane arm port or H plane arm port, not rather than this, which means that not getting the output from arm A. Okay now, so the main or else I need to assume that the one of the disadvantages of this massively waveguide junction are that reflections arise from reflections arise from the impedance mismatches. Reflections arises from the impedance mismatches. The impedance mismatches. The impedance mismatches that naturally occurs within it. The reflections arises from the impedance mismatches. So how you will get it? The reflections means, so based on the impedance mismatches only we are getting the reflections. So that reflections also occur within the Mazikti waveguide junction. Within that only we will get it the reflections. So these reflections are not only give a rise to power loss. These reflections are not to only give rise to power losses, but at the voltage peak points, at the voltage peak points, they can give rise to arising when used with high power transmitters. So when we'll get it this reflections means, so not only rising the power losses. These reflections are not only rising the increasing the power losses. This will be maybe voltage peak points also. At voltage peak points we'll get it this rising the when we are using high power transmitters. When we are using high power transmitters, at that time also we are getting the reflections. At that time we are getting the power losses. If the reflections will be rising, then the one condition is impedance are mismatches inside the or within the waveguide. The one more thing is, whenever you are applying, whenever you are using high power transmitters, at that time also you are getting the reflections within the waveguide. These two conditions are these two disadvantages you need to keep your mind. So the first condition is, if the impedance mismatches will be happening inside the waveguide junction, then you will get it the reflections. Or if you are using high power transmitters within the waveguide junction, then you are getting the power losses with reflection losses. You need to remember these 2 points. These 2 points are disadvantages from the Mazikti waveguide junction. Just you need to remember. And the reflections can be reduced if you want to reduce the mismatches or impedance mismatches inside the within the waveguide junction means what you need to use. So you need to use matching techniques. With the help of matching techniques, you need to reduce impedance mismatches or you need to overcome impedance mismatches. So the reflections can be reduced by using matching techniques. Matching techniques. So normally uh, for removing energy from the waveguides, what you used in the previous topics, what you used already, you need to remember, if you want to remove energy from the waveguide means what used in the previous topics, either you already used, either you need to use posts, either you need to use posts or screws. You need to insert posts or screws inside the waveguide. And then only you will able to remove the energy or power losses from the waveguide. You need to remember that topic. Normally, the posts or screws are used within the E plane and H plane ports. With the help of these posts and screws, you need to overcome the reflections what we are getting from the waveguide junction, from the Mazikti waveguide junction. You need to remember these are the very important. Okay, this is over already. Fine. So the reflections can be reduced by using the matching techniques. So normally the pores screws are used between the E plane and H plane pores. So either you need to use this matching techniques inside inside the magic waveguide junction, or else with the help of those techniques also you need to able to use the eliminate the overcome the reflections or mismatches whatever you are getting in the waveguide junction. Waveguide junction. So the solutions are these these the these are the solutions for improving the impedance matches and hence the reflections, but there is a power handling capacity. The power handling capacity penalty will be happening inside this. Okay, so the next important one is hybrid ring waveguide junction. The next type is hybrid ring waveguide junction. Hybrid ring waveguide junction. I think all of you understanding the concept of magic waveguide junction. Yeah, anyone respond from A and B? Did you understand the topic of waveguide junction of magic T? Yeah, anyone respond from A and B?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next topic is hybrid ring waveguide junction. Hybrid ring waveguide junction. See. So in this hybrid ring waveguide junction, why you need to use this basically? Just you need to know it. So if you want to overcome the power limitations what you are getting from the magic waveguide junction, so for that purpose you need to use hybrid ring waveguide junction. This is the form of waveguide. This is the form of the waveguide junction which is overcome the power limitation, which is overcome the power limitation of the magic waveguide junction, which means that by using this hybrid ring waveguide junction, you will be able to overcome the power limitations, whatever you are getting in the magic waveguide junction. A hybrid ring waveguide junction is a further development of the magic T, which is the further development of the magic T, which means that we are getting some losses, we are getting some problems in the magic T waveguide junction. So if you want to overcome such type of problems, whatever you are getting in the waveguide magic T junction, you need to develop the one more waveguide junction is called hybrid ring waveguide junction. So it is the concept which is constructed from a circular ring of a rectangular waveguide, a bit like an annulus. Okay, so the ports are then joined to the annulus at the required points, which means that just you need to see the diagram if you want to means. For this, which is under development, under going on process, because that reason we don't have a diagram for this. So first you need to remember, this is constructed from either circular ring of rectangular waveguide, a bit like an annulus. So the ports are then joined to the annulus at the required points. Again, if the signal enter into one port, let us assume. Again, here also you need to, why mean this is the further development of this magic waveguide junction. So for the, because that reason, again, if a signal enter into the one of the port of this hybrid ring waveguide junction, it does not appear at all the others. It does not appear at all the others, which means that the junction is able to provide, the junction is able to provide high levels of isolation. The junction is able to provide high levels of isolation. High level of isolation. Although the exact values, although the exact values should be checked. You need to check the exact values in the data sheets for a particular junction being considered. For a particular junction being considered. This means that the hybrid ring is used primarily in high power radar and communication systems. The hybrid ring is used primarily in high power radar and communication systems. Communication systems where it acts as a duplexer. So where it acts as a duplexer. So you know the function of duplexer is which is allowing the same antenna to be used for transmitting and receiver functions. So we are using here only one antenna which will be act as a which will be used for transmitter and receiver functions. This will be functioning for both cases, receiver and transmitter. Why means which will be act as a duplexer. So during the transmitter period, let us assume during the transmitter, during the transmit period, the junction couples microwave energy from the transmitter to antenna. During the transmit period, the junction couples microwave energy from the transmitter to the antenna while blocking the energy from the receiver input. You need to remember. If the transmitter period is going on, what will happen? The junction coupled microwave energy from the transmitter to antenna, you need to block the energy from the receiver input. Just you need to remember that point. Then, as the receiver cycle starts, the hybrid ring waveguide. The hybrid ring waveguide junction couples the energy from the antenna to the receiver. So during this period, it prevents the energy from reaching the transmitter. During this period, it prevents the energy from reaching the transmitter. This means that the waveguide junction are essential type of configuration that enables the power to be split and combined in a variety of waves. The waveguide junction are essential type of configuration that enables the power to be split and combined in a variety of waves. So they considerable simplify many systems, and although many are quite expensive, so they provide a high performance method of achieving their functions. So this is under a developing stage only. Okay, for overcoming all the reflections, what we are rising with the impedance mismatches. Okay, so this is going on for overcoming all this such type of problems what we are getting from the bisective waveguide junction. Okay, so the next one is junction. The next one is junction power divider. Using transmission line. Junction power divider using transmission line. See the diagram. This is the diagram for junction power divider using transmission line. So which is also a T-junction power divider. This is also a T-junction power divider. Is a 3-port network. This is a 3-port network that can be constructed either from a transmission line or from the waveguide. The T-junction power divider is a 3-port network. Here we have 3 port, port 1, port 2, port 3. This is a 3-port network which can be constructed either from a transmission line or from the waveguide, which is depending upon the frequency of operation, Just you need to see. In this we have, just you need to remember, which is it is a junction of 3 transmission line. In this case we have port 1 is the input port power, then the P2 and P3 will act as a output ports. Let us assume if it is input port, this will have let us assume if you are applying input signal with amplitude of V1, so which is having the impedance of Z0. So if you are applying through this port means which is having input impedance of ZIN. Okay, so if it is act as a input port, the remaining these two port 1 and port 2 and port 3 will be act as a output ports. That only we represent here also, respectively. To transfer the maximum power from the port 1 to port 2 and port 3, if you want to transmit maximum power through port 2 and port 3 means what will happen? What you require if you want to transmit maximum power through port 2 and through this port 1, we are getting the output from port 2 and port 3. If you want to get it the output maximum power from the output ports of P2 and P3 means what you required? Initially you required matching. The impedance must match at the junction. If you want to get maximum power from the output ports of 2 and 3 means the impedance should be matched to the junction. At junction level, the impedance must be matched. Okay, this is the basic points what we are discussing now. It is a junction of 3 transmission line. In this case, if the port 1 is act as the input power, then the P2 and P3 are the power of output ports respectively. And the transfer maximum power, if you want to transfer maximum power from the port 1 to port 2 and port 3, you require impedance match. What you require? Impedance must match at the junction level. The next one is directional coupler. You need to see the diagram for directional coupler. This is the diagram for directional coupler. So it is a 4-port. We have to see. Let us assume this is the directional port for one case, which is how many ports? 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. It is a 4-port waveguide junction which is consisting of a primary waveguide 1 to 2 and the secondary waveguides 3 to 4, which will be how 2 waveguides. The first one is primary waveguide and the secondary one is the secondary waveguide. The primary waveguide will be having the 2 ports 1 to 2 and the secondary waveguide will be having 3 to 4 ports. You need to see. When all the ports are terminated if all ports are terminated in their characteristic impedance, when all the ports are terminated in their characteristic impedance, there is free transmission of power without reflection between port 1 and port 2. When all ports are terminated in their characteristic impedance. If you terminating the ports in their characteristic impedance, what will happen? The free transmission of the power without reflection between the port 1 and port 2 will be happening. So no power transmission take place between port 1 and port 3 or port 2 and port 4. Yes or no? There is no power transmission will be taking place between the port 2 and port 3, port 2 and port 3 and port 2 and port 4. Which means that the characteristic of directional cupula is expressed in terms of its coupling factor. The characteristic of a directional cupula is expressed in terms of its coupling factor. In terms of its coupling factor and directivity. And the coupling factor is the measure of the ratio of power levels in primary and secondary lines. The definition of a coupling factor of directional cupula is defined as the ratio of power level in primary and secondary lines. The coupling factor is measure of the ratio of power levels in primary and secondary lines. And the definition for directivity is the measure of how well the forward traveling wave, how well the forward traveling wave in the primary waveguide, that forward traveling wave in the primary waveguide couples only to a specific port of secondary waveguide. Directivity is the measure of how well the forward traveling waveguide in the primary waveguide couples only to a specific port of secondary waveguide. So in ideal case, a directivity is infinity. In ideal case, the directivity is infinity. That is the power at port 3. That is the power at this port 3 is 0 because the port 2 and port 4 are perfectly matched. If the directivity is infinity, therefore the power at port 3 is equals to 0 because of the port 2 and port 4 perfectly matched. Let the wave propagates from port 1 and port 2 in primary line. Let us assume the wave propagates from port 1 and port 2 in primary line. What is the coupling factor? The coupling factor in dBs, in decibels, is equals to 10 log 10 log P1 divided by P4 base 10. 10 log P1 divided by P4 base 10 is the what will it be the power at port 1 and port 4. And the directivity in decibels, 10 log P4 divided by P3 base 10, whereas P1 is power input to the port 1, whereas power input to port 1. P3 is whereas power output from the port 3, power output from the port 3, whereas P4 is power output from the port 4. Okay, just you need to see that. Okay, now next you need to see the general discussions. How many types of directional couplers we have? So here we have different types of directional couplers. So the first we have the coupled transmission lines, branch line coupler, we don't have in the syllabus. Just you need to see the main points. These are out of the syllabus. You need to see. We don't have. You need to remember. This is out of syllabus. Okay. Coupled transmission lines, branch line coupler, LAN coupler, Wilkinson power divider, hybrid coupler, hybrid ring coupler, multiple output dividers, wave-wide branch line coupler. You need to remember all types of directional couplers. Okay, next one. How many holes can be there in a directional coupler? How many holes we have within the directional coupler? So the following figure shown the images of a two-hole directional coupler. This means that a two-hole directional coupler is designed to meet the ideal requirement of directional coupler. A two-hole directional coupler is designed to meet the ideal requirement of directional coupler, which is to avoid back power. Sometimes the sum of the power while traveling between port 1 and port 2 escapes through the holes 1 and 2. So the sum of the power while traveling between the port 1 and 2 escapes through the holes 1 and 2. And what is directional coupler theory? What is the basic function of directional coupler theory? The directional coupler is an electronic component. The directional coupler is an electronic component having four-port circuit with one port being isolated from the input port, and the another port being considered as through a port, and the another port being considered as a through port. And the device is normally used to split the input signal and distribute the power. The device is normally used to split the input signal and distribute the power. And the one more important point is, what is the directional coupler used for? A directional coupler is a four-port device that is used to sample a small amount of input signal power for measurement purpose. This is used to sample a small amount of input signal power for measurement purpose. You need to remember that. Okay, now. So these are the very, very important topics, and one more you need to see. So in this also we need to see the way we define a coupler has four ports, which uses no internal resistors and has one isolated port that is terminated. And here we have already used the term splitter. A splitter is a three-port, is non-directional, and which requires internal resistors and has no isolated port. This has a 3 dB and 90 degrees hybrid couplers. A 3 dB and 90 degrees hybrid coupler is a four-port device that is used either to equally split an input signal with a resultant 90 degrees phase shift between output ports, to combine two signals while maintaining high isolation between the ports. So this is the today's topics.